So here's a battle. This is foreversai of YouTube. This is actually my third battle against him, and I'll leave the link to his profile in the description. I lead with Swampert, he leads with Scizor. I decided to set up Stealth Rock because Swampert's generally bulky, and I'll get to see what type of Scizor this is. And based on the sheer amount of damage in the U-turn, I'm starting to believe that that's a Choice Band Scizor. So he goes into Breloom as I set up the Stealth Rock, and I'm thinking this thing's gonna Spore. So I go into my Gyarados because at least I'll get the Intimidate off, and I really don't have anything that can take a Spore, like a Sleep Talk or anything. But he actually goes for the Seed Bomb, which is a reasonable choice because that would have knocked out Swampert easily. So right here I'm thinking he'll do a Spore, so I taunt, hoping that I'm faster, but he actually withdraws. It goes into a Porygon-Z. And I've been swept by this Porygon-Z before, and in all honesty, Porygon-Z is like my least favorite Pokemon. I hate the sight of these things. So I'm predicting a Thunderbolt and going to Jolteon, but he actually goes with the Tri-Attack, which, because of a crit, is able to knock out my Jolteon. Actually, I'm not sure if the crit mattered. I haven't calced it out, but Jolteon's not that bulky. So I go into Tyranitar, because Tyranitar has beastly special defense in the sand, and he's locked into Tri-Attack, because I'm almost certain this is a Scarfgon. And he withdraws, it goes to Scizor, as I Dragon Dance. And this Tyranitar is just bulky enough to take a Bullet Punch from Choice Band Scizor, so I stay in an Earthquake. So Tyranitar lives as expected, and I Earthquake, and I get a crit, which sort of makes up for that crit on Jolteon, and I KO his Scizor. So right here, he goes into his Infernape, and I'm predicting the Mach Punch, so I go back into Gyarados to take that and get Intimidate on the Infernape. And here I'm thinking that he's probably going to switch into Porygon-Z again. So I attempt to Waterfall instead of Dragon Dance. But he actually goes with Thunder Punch. I don't see many Infernapes carry Thunder Punch, but I guess that's a great way to counter Gyarados, because the typical Infernape set doesn't really have a way of dealing with them. So he catches me by surprise there. But then again, I didn't really have anything that could take a Thunderbolt. So I go into Azelf, because Azelf can Psychic Infernape, and I'm certain that I'm faster because I know this Infernape isn't Scarfed, but he goes into Metagross. And Metagross has got triple resistance to Psychic, so that does nothing. And he's probably going to do some kind of strong attack. So I switch out, and I go into my Swampert, because Swampert can tank most of Metagross's attacks. But he sets up Stealth Rock, which is annoying because now my Tyranitar can't come back in. And this team doesn't have a spinner, so yeah. But he goes into a Latias, as I do Earthquake, which Latias avoids because of Levitate. And Swampert doesn't really have a good way of dealing with Latias, so I switch out right here, and I go into Metagross. But he subs, so this is some kind of weird sub version of Latias. I've never faced one of these before, so I really have no idea what to expect. But in order to make sure that I'm faster, I go for the Agility. He Dragon Pulses, which doesn't do that much damage to Metagross. In fact, it barely does any damage at all. And I can tank several of these, so I stay in. So I know I have to Agility twice to take out the Latias, but here I Meteor Mash, just to make him think that I'm not up to something. So he Dragon Pulses again, and right now I'm thinking that Dragon Pulse is the only move this Latias has, because it's what he keeps using, and I really don't have a reason to switch out. So I go for my second Agility here, just to be certain that I outspeed that Porygon-Z, because my team doesn't have any counters left for that thing, so I don't want to be open to the sweep. So right here I go for the Meteor Mash, and looking at how much damage it did, I can tell it's an extremely physically bulky version of Latias. But that really doesn't matter now because I can take it out quite easily, and it can't really do a thing against me. So I Meteor Mash again, and Latias goes down. And I get an attack boost from the Meteor Mash, which is pretty fortunate. So right now this Metagross is a +1 attack and a +4 speed, making it faster than anything on his team, including that Porygon-Z. And right now he just happens to go into that Porygon-Z, and just to be safe, because I can't really afford to risk a miss with Meteor Mash, I go with Earthquake, which should do enough damage to KO Porygon-Z, and it does. So next he goes into his own Metagross, and he bullet punches me, I guess attempting to get as much damage on this Metagross as possible. And bullet punch doesn't do that much, and I'm able to retaliate and KO with Earthquake. He then goes into Breloom, who is able to resist all of this Metagross attacks except for Meteor Mash. So I have to use Meteor Mash here, and thankfully I hit. I get a second attack boost here, but it really doesn't matter because his last Pokemon's at Fernape. And here I'm able to Earthquake and Fernape after his Mach Punch and win. But that's a great game. dreamzsai, hope to battle again. And remember guys, check out his profile. He has some really good battles, great music, and a ton of videos. And remember to rate, comment, and subscribe.